Welcome to Boxing on the Record with Randy and Shy. Shy, right now it's time to take a station break. This is the time we get the ask the viewers to like, dislike, subscribe, comment, share, do something to engage with the show so that we can move it forward and it can reach more people and we can grow the channel. Now back to our regular scheduled program. Now, Shy, what you got on your mind? You want to get it out and put it on the record. Talk to me. Tell me something.
Man, Randy, I was sitting over here watching Different Strokes, man, and just really started hitting me about boxing. I was like, okay, yeah, different strokes for different folks. And I started thinking that, damn, we going into 2026. We need to go ahead and make a stand for 2026. So let me hit up Randy so we can go ahead and get this on the record. So that's where all this is. And I want to be clear, Randy. I really want to be clear. I'm hoping that first, the black YouTube boxing channels, and then second, all the other boxing channels will end this fanboy garbage that they do just to make money. People don't see that, but they're doing it only to make money. I wish that would end in 2026. This is my wish. This is my wish. But again, because the year is ending, well, God's up, I'll make it to the end of the year. Don't know if I will or not. So let's just go ahead and just cut to the skinny on it all. What is one of the things I'm tired of in 2025 when it comes to the black YouTube channels? What I am tired of is this fan orientated fanatic type of channels that literally have no scruples. Uh, the decorum is false. The standards only apply to the opponent of who their favorite fighter is, but their favorite fighter can always get away with everything. I'm sick of it. And one of the biggest cats is Tank Davis. All of these fanatical Tank Davis channels, I need them to get some scruples, some balls, or get the hell out of the thing. Or I need people to realize that these people are only doing this. They're saying whatever they got to say so that they can get views, likes, clicks, money. That is not the sport of boxing, especially when they're utilizing Tank, quote unquote, Tank Davis against another quote unquote black fighter. We can talk the difference in the two fighters. We've done this our whole entire boxing lives. We've talked about the differences between Ali, Foreman, Ken Norton, the Sphinx brothers. We spoke about those differences. We spoke about the differences between Hagler, Leonard Hearns, all these different people. We've never made it like, oh, Leonard's just the greatest guy that's always going to do this. We understood that this could be exposed, and many people today don't know how dope of a boxer Hearns was because they're into this little fanboy stuff, don't get a chance to actually learn the sport. But Hearns was a better boxer than Leonard, and that would shock everyone. But that only shocks you if you don't know boxing. You got these cats out here using I Know Boxing as a cover so they can make money and do all that stuff. And I'm sick of it, man. I'm calling all those suckers out, man. Don't need to name no names. I ain't into all this stuff. We too old to be trying to fight, but I can speak truth. I speak truth to all of this stuff. Tank Davis ain't done spit in years. We are Tank Davis fans. We had liked this dude since he was a part of Mayweather Promotions. We knew he couldn't talk. We knew he needed a speech pathologist and somebody else, somebody that could help translate what the hell this little boy is trying to say. And they couldn't. So Floyd said, shut up. Let me do all talking for you. One thing we learned out of that was that they was trying to make him a pay-per-view star. We had no issue with that. We literally had no issue with that. We supported that. Hey, another quote-unquote black boy on the rise who's going to come up in some money, who does have talent, who has knockout power. That is the way to do it. And what did they do? They built him as a pay-per-view star. Floyd Mayweather did not become this quote-unquote pay-per-view star until he became Money Mayweather. When he was Pretty Boy Floyd, he was using skills to pay the bills. Gervonta Davis, when he started out, when he started boxing, and when he started trying to compete, he did have the skills to pay the bills. But the era that we're in, there weren't enough eyes on that. Boxing wasn't on every channel, like it was back in Floyd's day. It wasn't easily accessible. So they had to kind of go to the other thing. Let's focus on this and let's do that. And they did that. They put people in front of him who had to move up and weight or who had to move down and suffer different weight classes so that his name can be preserved. He got a secondary belt that was never ever a real belt, but they try to present it as if it was because it's Tank. He's gonna give you these knockouts, sort of like Mike Tyson. I'm gonna give you a knockout, so we're gonna love this dude. But somehow it gravitated over into being this who he really is. And in boxing, as I told you, the only way you can get better is by continually fighting. You have to make certain adjustments. You have to do these different things. We were able to see Tank's actual boxing ability when he hurt his hand against Pitbull. And I want to be clear. Pitbull is a dude that I believe Tank can beat every single last day, every day, all day, inside out, eyes, blind, whatever, blindfolded, all these things. He could always beat Pitbull because he does, at least at the time, had superior footwork, superior timing, superior boxing technique, and then he had power. Tank had that. So I was like, it's okay. It's okay. He can do this. But then after
Before
that,
you go any further, before you go any further with that, I just had this. I just wanted to throw in there because you cooking, and I hate to interrupt you. And I ain't gonna keep you off long because it might burn, so you got to get back to it. But it's when you said that he had his hand hurt. He hurt his hand with the pit bull fight. Pitbull must have a hard head because he hurt his hand and Lamont broke his hand on Pitbull here. But go ahead.
yeah, and I was going to actually lead to that later on, so I'm not even going to now since you already brought it up. So yeah, it's understood. And when you look at Pitbull fight, you can see why a person would hurt their hand. A very again, these are subtle techniques. He puts his head down, dives in, almost like a head first. Who else does that? Holyfield. People almost always hurt their hand fighting Holyfield too, because I'm gonna make you hit. You're not hitting me on the cheek. You're not hitting me on my nose. You're hitting me on the top of my head. More of a solid skull structure. So this is a lot of things that happen with Pitbull, and Pitbull does have some kind of pop because I did see him knock oh gosh, Tank into the ropes. I think it was in the first or second round. And you can see Tank was like, "Oh, okay, you got a little punch." And so in boxing, we on the outside we're gonna think it's nothing, but in boxing, when someone hits you a little hard, you go, "Okay, I gotta let them know that I can hit too to get them off." But they're putting their head down like that, and I'm hitting on the top of their head. I'm hitting these things. That's gonna hurt my hand, break my wrist, do all these different types of things, and that's what happened, in my opinion, with Tank and Pitbull after that fight, after that fight, who? It's not even a matter of name. I'm not even talking about Ryan Garcia, Rolly. I'm not even talking about who is in his division, who was like the champion in his division, the number two in his division, this bad boy in the division that he fought. It was always these different people that would allow him to at least have some kind of pay-per-view purse, as opposed to fighting some legacy-oriented person. And I'm going to speak about this legacy-oriented person that he's so-called just trying to fight now, Lomachenko. Lomachenko, before he even lost, before anything, was one of the main people that was calling him out. Now, I have to be clear, for just for the record, Tank actually did want to fight Lomachenko. He did want to do it. It was Floyd that was like, no, no, not yet. Floyd kind of kept interrupting that fight for whatever reason, you know. And that's common. Fighters believe they can do more than they can, and so they go on with whatever. But someone who's managing you knows you're not, because this dude can do this to you. You don't see these holes that we see. You don't see these issues we see. So imagine take not fighting real top competition year after year after year, but fighting females, fighting the court, doing all this stuff has you further delayed from that. And now you're in the 30s, and we still are thinking you're the same cat at 22, 23 that we first saw. Hogwash. Okay, I think we've been on for 6 minutes. Bullshit. You know, all that stuff is trash. I have to be clear. I have no further hope, no further belief. I can't go off of coulda, shoulda, wouldas with this whole tank garbage that all these people are pushing. They're pushing it for money. And then they want to throw in a Devin Haney who actually has challenged everybody in his division. When Devin Haney came into boxing, he was in at 135. He stayed at 135 for years, trying to fight he caught every single last person out there. Nobody would fight him. Nobody would fight him. It took this person to try to fight him. Devin Haney even called out Lomachenko. They would not fighting. I mean, there was this war that went on, so we'll accept that. TL Freeman, no. Gervonta Davis crying all over the place. We ain't gotta do is trying to argue on social media about not fighting, as opposed to saying, "Let me just do it so I can knock you out." It's just this back and forth, crying, crying, crying. Somebody who's not even in your division stepped up to take your place. If he ain't gonna fight you, I'll do it. A dude at 122, 126 pounds stepped up, and you guys shifted the argument almost like a strawman argument, a red herring, the red herring more specifically, going to something, arguing on something different that ain't got nothing to do with that. You're trying to fight Tank. Tank is saying all this other trash, but you got to do that 122, 126 coming up and saying, I'll fight you. And now y'all start arguing about this. Who's that person? Gary Russell Jr. So the argument went from Tank and Devin fighting to Devin and Gary Russell fighting. But the thing is, Gary Russell also argued with Tank, but it became more heated and more like, okay, this could happen with him and Devin Haney. And so Tank just took a back road and just sat back while all these other people argued about all this stuff. And obviously, Gary Russell, that fight never happened. Devin Haney, just to make everything short, cleaned up the whole division. Teal then fighting Mateo did fight Loma, and then all that stuff that happened, and then George Kambosos did that, and George Kambosa, even though he's not a plus elite level fighter, he still had enough heart to say, I'm gonna give Devin Haney a chance because this dude has been trying to fight everybody and they're not fighting him. Tank won't fight him, this guy's won't fight him, so I will fight him. I had the belts. Tank wasn't even trying to fight Kambosos, which is the most ridiculous thing. When Devin Haney went over to Australia to fight Kambosos, everybody was scared because they said it was going to be a setup. Even those Tank lovers now who hate on Devin was praying for Devin then. Devin won. He had to go back and do it again. They were praying for him again. After he won, all of a sudden Devin came too cocky. Now he coming that Tank. He act like he the best. He act like all this. They find a reason to hate on this dude who is literally trying to fight the best that's there. Tank refused to fight him. All these other Devin had did what he had to do in the whole division. I became undisputed champion. There's no need for me to fight somebody, who's not even trying, who I have to debate with. So let me move up. Then he gets flat for trying to move up, as opposed to waiting on some dude who ain't got no real belt trying to fight you on some stuff when you have all the belts. Man, get out of here. Get out of here. He moves up. Tank becomes an email champion, and every single last person who gets one of Devin's belts, which is Shakur and all these other cats in that division, become email champions. Devin was called email champion because of what happened with their situation, Loma, and all these other things, and that no one could sleep on it. Everybody was laughing all day and all night. But then as soon as Tank and all the rest of these people come email champions because they get Devin's belt, ain't nobody got anything to say about it. They have to find a way to hate on Devin. This is an issue I have with boxing. That is not boxing. That's a hoish mentality. That's a personal mentality. That's soap opera type of trash and everything. Devin still goes to 140 and does what he has to do, wins. Now Devin has gone up to 47, does what he has to do and win. And all we keep hearing now is this stupid ass weight bully garbage and you try to do this, you weight bully, all this stuff. Your boy Tank walks around at 160, 180, but fights at 135. This is a guy that chooses not to fight at the weight division that he walks around in, and then puts other people in a rehydration clause. Those clauses don't happen in boxing at all. It's very few. Floyd Mayweather did this. A couple other people did it. Sugar Ray Leonard, but it's very, very few. Most all boxers understand that I will come into this contracted weight on that night, but then I may weigh 10 pounds more, 15 pounds more, or so many pounds more because this is not my division. But only Devin Haney and maybe a couple other fighters get this scrutiny because boxing has shifted from being the critical, at least the Black Boxing YouTube channel, critical analysis to being fanboys and their talk is being masked as if it's critical information talking about boxing, but it's all bullshit. These are fanboys that don't know boxing. They're just saying whatever they got to say. I can go toe to toe with every single last one of them from beginning to end, and we will only speak boxing. Why? Because I am a Tank fan, but Tank ain't shit now. Who hasn't been competing? Who's I feel his skill is going to wake. He can only make a huge fight and then retire. Go ahead, Randy. Let me go ahead and get rest my voice while you go ahead and go in.
Yeah, take you a sip of something and get ready to come back. Cause I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you cook, you going in. I just want when you touched on Dev, and I know they're gonna call me a Devin Haney lover and all that sorts of stuff. But you got to give credit where credit is due, and not just follow the narrative. A lot of people follow the narrative and follow the most popular people that's screaming out the boxing name that they like, and they just get a crowd run behind them, and they don't really look at the fact that what is boxer doing, or the person that they follow have a personal motive in following them. But I was looking at listening to you, and I was thinking about Dev's career, and um um I believe Ryan know that too because they didn't give him the rematch. I mean, he had a lawsuit. Then people were like, "Why he gonna sell it like that? Yeah, you sell it in the ring, this, that, and the third. But then you tell him to sell it in the ring. He hard, but he trying to be stand up. Now you're saying he ain't cut like that. He ain't built like Tank. Which one do you want him to do? You just want him to fit your narrative. And he dropped the lawsuit, hoping he was gonna get the rematch, but the rematch never did materialize. So it wasn't his fault that the rematch didn't come. He dropped it one just like y'all asked him to, and he didn't get the rematch. He should have kept it. At least he would have got paid. Um, I look at Rolling. Rolling now talking about he not gonna fight Devin. He don't want to fight Devin. Like Bill always said, they say everything, but let's fight. Rolling got excuses. What is your excuse, Rolling? Talking about you gonna get sued 5 times? I mean, he know he cannot beat Dev. The public might say he can. Public opinion or public popularity might say he can, but he know he can't. I don't think Ryan think he can beat Dev in a rematch because they didn't already fought. He know he gonna get a different fight from Dev. Um, I also look at how Dev beat George Kambosos twice, beat him twice. Tio couldn't even beat him once, and then he had an excuse and say he's in about to have a heart attack and he was short of breath and all this whole other crazy stuff. But he never did visit the rematch. Why you didn't fight him when you got better? Because you couldn't beat him. So he don't have the confidence to beat Dev. So they don't get it. Uh Regis. Regis got in there. We thought Dev was gonna Regis was gonna beat Dev. A lot of people thought that. And then Regis found a new respect for Dev because it's a different than standing outside and getting in the ring with a person. It's a whole different ball game. So Regis screaming from the top of the mountain how good Devin is, and people don't believe he that good because they still have their way of looking at Dev. But my thing of it is to wind it up is Dev goes to 147 facing a killer in Brian Norman Jr. because they created him to be a killer because he knocked Jen Sansaki out and made him lose his memory for 3 months, and they just was hoping and praying and wishing that he was going to do the same thing to Dev. And when Dev made it look easy, they can't find nobody else at 47 right now that they feel can beat Dev. So now they want him to go to 54. Only reason why they want to go to 54 because they want to see him lose. Talking about he too big for a 47 pounder. I mean, come on. He wasn't much bigger than Brian Jr. Brian was just shorter. It's just the way his frame is. But like I said, they just want the guy to lose. And to last words toward Tank, man, Tank, I really don't know what to say about Tank because I've always said I didn't think he was the guy. I mean, because I'm not, me personally, I'm not impressed with a bunch of knockouts because I look at it a little different than a lot of other people. When you going around knocking people out, they just don't. They just not the quality fighter to be in there. That's all that means. I mean, yeah, he caught Leo with a good shot, knocked him out. He caught Mario, knocked him out. But when you get some, somebody that's got that sweet science, they can do the same thing all night long. Might not get a knockout, but they will make them look like they don't belong in the ring. So, like I said, when you knocking people out like that, I'm not impressed with it. Me personally, I'm not impressed with it because I figured they got you in the right fight to get the knockout. What say you?
Man, Randy, exactly what you said. There's absolutely nothing I'm gonna say contrary to any of that. I'm gonna add to it. And we don't even think about this. We don't care about this because of. I'm gonna start it with this. Somebody's always working on something. That sparring tape between Devin and Tank years ago, when part of that was released where it showed Devin got hurt by Tank. Everyone just ran with that. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And Bill, and it was in Mayweather's gym where they do doghouse rules and all that type of trash. And that was like, oh, but Bill kept saying, wait until the real video comes out. Wait till the full thing. That's only an edited version. Wait till the full one comes out. And it didn't come out until God knows how many months, could have been a year later. After Floyd and Tank were no longer like cool anymore, then the full thing came out, and you saw exactly everything that Bill said was true. Devin did get hurt, like we saw in that first thing, but Devin came back and aired Tank all the way out, and Devin won that doghouse rules thing, and they got all that money exactly like they said. Now, sparring means nothing, and and they were younger then, and all these types of things, but based off of the hype that went into everybody, including these tank channels, trying to say, see, Devin ain't nobody. Devin's all this type of stuff and doing all stuff off of a clipped version. And then everybody going silent when when the full version comes out and it shows that Devin actually did beat Tank. It does make you start wondering, is this something that why Tank didn't want to fight Dev? Something why they always try to talk more than anything else because they know Dev can weather a storm and come back and still do Tank in and get Tank in all his weaknesses. And I have to say, when they fought back then, Tank was a sharper fighter, a better fighter than he is now. That is extremely important as well. Regardless if they were sparring on stuff, he was a better fighter than he is now. He has not fought for years. And I'm gonna also say I don't give a shit about Tank because he only fights women. That's the only time he got all kinds of energy to go up against anyone is a woman. And you a trick, you a mark to me, and I'll leave it there with that. So as it relates to Devin and how they be hating on Devin and all this thing, the dude can never do enough. He can never do enough. No one's ever happy about anything that he does, even though he's the one that has been challenging stuff all the way through. And one big difference between Devin and these other people that came from 35 now up to 47, where he is at, Devin has never said or ever felt that he was the best. He's always wanted to try to challenge himself to see if he is and to become. And that is what we know from back in the day. The best fight the best. If you claim that you're this person that has this title, I'm this person, then we should fight each other so we can see who the real person is. That's what Devin tried to do at 135. Tank would not fight him, but he was able to get these other people to fight him, and he did what he did and became undisputed. In 140, he did what he had to do. Now he's at 47. Just got to 47. And we agree, before he got to 47, when Boots was still there, there was no way he was ever going to beat Boots. And they knew it as well. They talked about Boots if they went up there and wanted to fight it. But that was one of the first times I even saw not Devin, but his Bill stuttering about that fight and think, well, hey, we just see the man made the best win. Made the best man win. And so, I'm like, God, Boots will air your son out and everything. And so that's just what that is.
Exactly.
And it's cool. And I mean, there's it's literally there's nothing wrong with that. What is wrong with being wrong? What is wrong with taking a loss? A loss never meant that somebody was not great in boxing. Two things: someone can be greater that night, and someone can just be greater. You know, but straight out destroyed EJ. We know he was greater that night. But then now it's taking EJ 2 years to come back. We just literally know Bud is great. You know what I'm saying? Just great. So let's just keep it moving. I For me, I want Devin to keep doing what he's doing at 147. If anybody presents himself at 47, then you got to do what you got to do. But there's no more comp, then you got to go up to 54. You do. And I do believe there's more challenging stuff at 54 that will still allow him to sharpen and to get over certain mistakes and possibly become better. And I do not believe he can beat the way he fights now. I do not believe he can beat everyone at 54. But that doesn't mean I'm going to hate on him. I did not hate on Tank when I felt that maybe so and so could give him a little bit trouble, can do all these things. But I'm hating on him now simply because he has not done spit in years, and we're just riding off of what could have been. That you can't do that in boxing. You know, we can't do that with Roy Jones. We can't do that with anybody else. What could have been? What could have been? No, we tell you what was. He came back down and he got his ass beat. So and so didn't fight this person, and then he lost to this scrub. You know, Th- that's just what it is. We don't go off of what could have been. Trick Noti's favorite fighter, Emmanuel Augustus Caesar Augustus. That is the dude that has all kinds of talent. You could tell he could have been a phenomenal fighter. But by his own admission that he didn't train much, he was out in the streets doing whatever he has to do in the streets. But then also Floyd Mayweather earlier on said that was one of his toughest fights. To this day, Emmanuel Burton, we look at any of his fights, he still, or Caesar Augustus, whatever his name is now, he still has some of the greatest like boxing, techniques and skills. He has that he's the drunken master that he developed over a period of time. But he's good. He's very good at that. And he was the first one that gave Mickey Rourke that back and forth fight before Arturo got it. We really wanted a part two. Mickey Ward did not give him. It was Mickey Ward that did not want a rematch with him. And then Mickey Ward went on and fought Arterio, and they had their whole thing. So there are people that can be whatever. Tank Davis is not one of them. He's a dude, till this day, based off of his current allegations, he still has not come out himself and spoke about it. It's been his fanboys that are coming out talking about, oh, take. And so this is another, for me, and I'm speaking strong language. This is another hoe that sits back with hoish tendencies to let other people talk for them. Be a man. Speak out. Say, I did not do this. This didn't never done. Don't do something on Twitter and then delete it right after. Don't do anything. And don't sit back and let your so-called fanboys talk all kinds of stuff about you. And then you take what they said and try to use that in a soundbite. You a bitch to me. And so that's what Tank Davis is. He's a mark. I need him to go ahead and retire. I need his crew to stop being this whole fanatic stuff. Get back to boxing if you guys are into boxing. But if you're not, get out of it because you're only using all this stuff for money. This includes some of the most popular channels that are straight fanboys that do not utilize the same equity when it comes to criticizing someone who's talking about Tank. What Tank? The person that's criticizing Tank, who's a boxer, wants to fight Tank, y'all find everything negative about them. Tank does exactly the same thing. Then you find every excuse for Tank so he can look good. He's not that. He's not all of that. That's all I got to say on this. Excuse my language, people. Adult discretion, whatever, is advised. I usually don't attempt to go like this and talk like this, but this is what it is. I plan on not speaking on this or even going like this any further. So I had to get what I had to get out. Talk to me, Randy.
I ain't got nothing to say. I ain't got nothing to say. But I agree with you. They need to stop holding Tank up in his wrongdoing and just be fair boxers all the way across the board. I understand we have favorite fighters, but even sometimes you got to have you got to chastise your favorite fighter. Ain't no different than children. We love our children, but sometimes we got to chastise. You wrong. You dead wrong. And just because I don't like, just because you do it, don't make it right. And I just said it was wrong when the neighbor did it. You feel what I'm saying? So
Amen.
that's just what it is and where it is, and we just got to keep it 100. With that being said, we're out of here like last year.
Peace.